Rumors and...
Another sports legend announces that he has AIDS. Shocking news about radioactive pollution. Tens of thousands of contaminated sites in almost every state in the country. Also, Eye on America. Tonight, how you can cash in on the tax code just like the rich and famous. This is the CBS Evening News. Good evening. Dan Rather reporting. The news today came as a shock. Tennis Hall of Famer Arthur Ashe revealed that he has AIDS. It was something Arthur Ashe wanted to keep private, but he says he was finally forced to go public. CBS News health correspondent Edie Magnus reports on Arthur Ashe and AIDS.
Arthur Ashe was the first black man to win one of tennis's Grand Slam tournaments, defeating Jimmy Connors at Wimbledon in 1975. He ranked among America's top 10 tennis players for 15 years until he suffered a heart attack in 1979, which forced him suddenly to retire. Why me? Ashe asked then. He could be asking that question now.
I have known since the time of my brain operation in September 1988 that I have AIDS.
Tests showed Ashe had a brain infection, and more tests confirmed the cause was AIDS, acquired, he says, from a blood transfusion during one of 2 bypass operations on his heart.
I am not sick, and I can function very well in all that I have been involved in for the past several years. As for my family, my wife and daughter are in excellent health, and both are HIV negative.
Ashe did not want to go public today, but said that rumors about his health had been leaking out, that someone had, in his words, ratted on him to reporters who started asking questions.
I didn't commit any crime. I'm not running for public office. I should be able to reserve the right to keep things like that private.
But now it's out, and friends and admirers are profoundly sad.
He's a very bright guy. He has got a big heart.
Lisa Jones, now 28, was among the first recipients of an Arthur Ashe tennis scholarship at age 13.
Continues to be a great role model, and I feel like a blow has been hit to the black tennis community, knowing that someone like that we hold high on a pedestal is been hit by something like this.
To date, the Centers for Disease Control has traced more than 4,700 cases of AIDS to contaminated blood. Almost all of the cases, like Arthur Ashe, occurred before 1985, when the U.S. started to screen all donated blood for the AIDS virus.
There's no question about the fact that the blood supply in the United States now is infinitely more safe than it was in 1983.
Ashe says he's not going to sue the hospital where he had heart surgery. He's looking forward as best he can.
I'm feeling very optimistic about being able to get on with my life in as normal a way as possible.
And Arthur Ashe says he plans to get actively involved in the AIDS movement, likely teaming up with Magic Johnson to try to reach this country's children. Dan?
So why did Arthur Ashe wait so long to go public?
He said today it was for one very simple reason. He wanted it to be private. He was worried that he would be treated differently, that his wife and daughter would be treated differently. They said today they're going to have to teach her now to deal with cruelty, that people project onto AIDS all kinds of fears. And Arthur Ashe did not want his family to be subjected to that, but events conspired against him.
Edie Magnus, thanks. A new U.S. government survey says there are more than 45,000 locations across this country that may be contaminated by radioactive waste. That is many more sites than the public was previously told about. And as correspondent Bruce Morton reports, some are in places you'd never expect.
Radiation Sterilizers, Inc. in Decatur, Georgia, sterilized medical instruments using radioactive cesium in stainless steel capsules leased from the U.S. Department of Energy, which had said they were safe.
There could never be any kind of a problem or leak. It was impossible to have any kind of incident where they would leak.
But one of the capsules did rupture, did leak. That was 4 years ago, and the cleanup isn't over yet. Find the leaking capsule, send all the capsules back. Deal with contaminated water, strip the steel lining from the tank that held the water, and on and on. The job may be finished next September. The taxpayers are footing the bill.
And the total project cost at that time will be somewhat over $35 million.
That's astonishing.
That is an astronomical figure.
The DOE would appear to me to need some kind of an overhaul, a management overhaul of looking at what are they doing, how effectively are they doing it, and how do they restore trust?
What happened at RSI is one example of the time and the costs involved in nuclear cleanups. But a report out today says this is just one case, that across the country there may be thousands. The Environmental Protection Agency says the contaminated sites are in practically every state in the Union. The heaviest concentration is in the West, where the government has been storing radioactive waste ever since it first built the atomic bomb. Besides obvious places like the Hanford Nuclear Reservation in Washington State, the study lists some sites never disclosed before. Item: under this golf course at Norton Air Force Base in California, there's a bunker of radioactive dirt collected from planes which flew through above-ground nuclear tests in the 1960s. Radioactive waste still lingers from accidents like this Titan missile silo explosion 12 years ago in Arkansas.
When we have 45,300 sites, estimated number of sites out there, it indicates this danger is much more widespread, I think, than most people had thought.
The cost of all the cleanups will run into billions of dollars. Now, at least, there's a laundry list of places that may need to be cleaned. Bruce Morton, CBS News, Decatur, Georgia.
There is also a laundry list out today of America's new most endangered rivers. The Columbia and Snake River system in the West heads the list of beautiful and previously clean rivers now facing the most environmental damage. Conservationists say more than 200 varieties of its fish are imperiled by dams and development in Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. Also high on the new endangered rivers list, the American River in California, the Colorado, the Mississippi River, and the Everglades, among others. Everyone knows there is no cure for the common cold, but there are many products sold over the counter that promise relief from cold symptoms. Do they really work? Rita Braver reports there are some new doubts about that.
Everyone knows that feeling, that awful feeling of having a cold.
I have a little cold, so I'm going to see if I can get rid of the runny nose.
I've got a cough, persistent cough too, very dry.
I feel terrible.
And a lot of us think we know what to do about it.
We've been using Benadryl and Cordaid.
I use Alka-Seltzer Cold Plus. That seems to work the best for me.
But today in Congress came allegations that many of the cold medications America spends $1 billion a year on do no good at all.
So, for example, when advertisers tell us to, quote, give your cold to contact, maybe what they mean is give your money to contact and keep your cold to yourself.
The problem, say many medical researchers, is that antihistamines found in almost all cold formulas work only on allergies, not on colds. And some decongestants may be worthless too, according to a recent study of Dimetapp, commonly given to sniffling children.
I found that there was no difference in symptom relief, regardless of whether a child received the antihistamine decongestant medicine, a placebo, or no medicine at all.
Not so, replied the over-the-counter drug manufacturers.
Millions and millions of Americans have used these antihistamines to treat their runny noses and sneezing for 40 years. And they wouldn't have kept doing that if they didn't believe that something was helping.
But the researchers had an answer for that, too.
The sneezing usually goes away and the runny nose becomes a stuffy nose, and so they may think that they've derived benefit when in fact it's the natural course of the cold.
The Food and Drug Administration has been under fire for allowing cold medicines to be sold without sufficient proof they work. Today, the FDA says it's evaluating whether to keep allowing antihistamines to be sold for cold relief. Rita Braver, CBS News, Washington.
Doctors in Switzerland say they have found the cause of the common beer belly. All right, it's beer or any kind of alcohol. Here's how it happens. The doctors say alcohol makes a body burn up fat more slowly. The fat that isn't burned is stored in, among other places, yep, the belly. Still ahead on tonight's Slim and Trim CBS Evening News, living proof that Yasser Arafat survived a crash landing in Libya. And presidential candidate Bill Clinton goes looking for labor support.
Ladies and gentlemen, feast your eyes on the elegant new J30. A classic luxury sedan in an infinity kind of way. A driver's car with 2 airbags, soft leather appointments, and tasty wood. Hey pal, don't you even think about it. The new J30 from Infinity.
Tylenol users discover a powerful name in aspirin-free pain relief.
It took away my headache. Aspirin-free Anacin worked as well as Tylenol.
Like Tylenol, aspirin-free Anacin is 100% aspirin-free acetaminophen, so it's gentle on your stomach.
Now I have a choice.
For painful gas, which would you choose? Your antacid or Gas-X, the tablet made for gas? It's extra strength, 100% simethicone to fight gas faster. Faster than your antacid. Fight gas right with Gas-X.
That quintessential survivor, Yasser Arafat, has survived yet again. The PLO leader walked away from a crash landing in the Libyan desert that killed 3 crewmen on his chartered plane. Tonight, Libyan TV showed Arafat in the hospital with a visitor, Muammar Gaddafi. Arafat reportedly suffered only cuts and bruises. He'd been missing for 15 hours while Arabs, Israelis, and world leaders thought about life without him. Now, they have to think again. Bob Simon in Israel has our report.
Yasser was dead, the radio said, and Israelis were delighted.
I think it's one of the best things that happened.
It's the hand of God, and it's a good thing.
I think that nobody is going to mourn his death.
Meanwhile, Palestinians huddled together like an extended family, the way Americans did the day JFK was shot. On the West Bank, those tired symbols of the struggle came out again, burning tires, token funeral pyres. The Intifada this morning had many sons, but no father. Police patrolled the sullen streets of East Jerusalem, where local leader Faisal Husseini and his friends had begun their wake.
40 shocked.
But then word came that Arafat had pulled one more life out of his long kafir.
Joy, happiness.
The West Bank exploded in ecstasy. There were hailstorms of candy. Midday traffic was transformed into a triumphal procession, followed by one weary Israeli jeep. Arafat was the PLO was the Intifada, and they were all alive. Even the Gaza Strip was smiling. Today's narrow escape will only bolster Arafat's standing on the West Bank in Gaza. Nothing is respected in this part of the world as much as survival. And by reappearing from Africa's deepest desert, the PLO leader has established once again he is the master of the art. He survived the Israeli war against him in 1982, as well as Jordanian and Syrian attempts to get him before and after. His 2 most important aides were assassinated over the last 4 years, and once again today, he scraped through. There was a boisterous celebration in Jerusalem this evening, attended by supporters of the peace process and others. Arafat is irreplaceable, they chanted. Tonight it was a cry of joy. This morning, it had been a traumatic moment of truth. There are no successors. Bob Simon, CBS News, Jerusalem.
Stay here with us now for more CBS News, including the U.S. airline industry frozen in the desert.
Butter? Philly.
Thank you.
Looks good, doesn't it? Ounce for ounce, Philly cream cheese has half the calories of butter or margarine. Next time, batter your bread with Philly instead.
What does this woman know about dieting that maybe you don't? That you don't have to drink your breakfast, because a serving of Kellogg's Special K actually has fewer calories than a glass of the leading diet shake. In fact, the entire Special K breakfast, including fruit, skim milk, and coffee, has fewer calories than the diet shake. So, if you're going to have something special when you're trying to lose weight, shouldn't it be something special with fewer calories? Kellogg's Special K. Lose the fat.
Stay within the lines. The lines are our friends. Stay within them. Stay within the lines. The lines are our friends.
Introducing the world's first V6 Crayon.
Are you listening?
The Isuzu Rodeo, built to go way outside the lines.
If your doctor has recommended Metamucil and you like the results, but you don't like those glasses of thick liquid, change to FiberCon. Get the same fiber action in easy-to-swallow tablets. Get doctor-recommended FiberCon.
He heard voices that made him kill their daughter. He says he's all better. Would you let him go free? 48 hours tonight.
Japanese stockholders are taking a real beating. Prices on the Tokyo Exchange plunged again today to a 6.5-year low. The free fall is blamed in part on an overall slowdown in the Japanese economy. There was a ripple effect on Wall Street today. The Dow Industrials fell more than 32 points. Some investors are concerned that a U.S. economic recovery could be delayed or stopped by Japan's problems. After the latest round of presidential primaries, it's again looking like perhaps a Clinton-Bush fight for the presidency in November. On the Democratic side, there's even some talk now about who might be a Clinton running mate. More about that from Richard Threlkeld.
Bill Clinton's first stop today was to visit the picket line in front of the strike-bound Caterpillar plant in Peoria. It was a gesture to try to win back some of the organized labor support that's drifted away to Jerry Brown, and Clinton was well received.
You got my vote and a lot of these other guys. We're behind.
Even though 2/3 of voters in yesterday's primary said they wanted another choice, Clinton's victories in 3 of them restored his momentum and the growing sense that his nomination is inevitable.
I'm not interested in whether they love me or not. I want them to respect me, and I want them to want me to be their president.
We have just begun to fight. Brown, nonetheless, will pursue Clinton right through to the convention, but he's likely now to be more of an irritant than a threat. Paul Tsongas finished second to Clinton in New York. The Clinton campaign's worried that Tsongas might drain off enough delegates in coming primaries to deny Clinton a majority. Tsongas will announce tomorrow whether he'll resume his campaign. If he doesn't, will he endorse Clinton?
As long as there is more than one candidate, then I think issues like endorsements are inappropriate.
But Tsongas is thought to be on the short list of Clinton vice presidential possibilities, along with Senators Bob Kerrey, Jay Rockefeller, Bill Bradley, Bob Graham, and General Colin Powell. Clinton's still well short of a lock on the nomination, and nobody's more worried about his electability than the party establishment.
My concern is not with the message, it's with the perception about the messenger.
I would have to say at this point it would be very difficult for any of the current candidates, in my judgment, to beat President Bush.
Bill Clinton could still self-destruct, but then who? Brown and Tsongas have proved even less popular. And do the Democrats dare nominate as somebody else who's avoided all the primaries and who owes his nomination to the party bosses in the smoke-filled rooms of the convention? Think of the fun the Republicans would have with that. Richard Threlkeld, CBS News, New York.
Coming up next, Eye on America tonight, how Americans hit by hard times are getting some help from the Internal Revenue Service.
The medical facts are clear. Tylenol is so gentle on your stomach, doctors even recommend it to their ulcer patients for everyday aches and pains. They know Tylenol can't aggravate an ulcer the same way aspirin can. That's important for all of us to know. And so is this. Hospitals use Tylenol 23 times more than all aspirin brands combined. Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
This plant is in trouble. Maybe so are you. Because what will you do? And how will you do it? With the one who guides you every step of the way. Ortho. It's our nature to help.
That was perfect.
Back in 5, Stephanie.
When you're trying to eat right, days like this are a disaster. Is this it?
Stephanie Powers talks about Kellogg's Nutri-Grain.
The only time I really control what I eat is at breakfast, and the whole grain in Kellogg's Nutri-Grain gives me a natural start. No sugar added, no preservatives, nothing fake. No matter what I eat later, at breakfast I call the shots.
Naturally good. Nutri-Grain, the natural place to start.
You know why I like CBS this morning?
Oh, because they say it's breakfast for your head and it sounds neat.
No, because it's where Michael J. Fox will be talking about directing us. Monday.
American Airlines is reportedly planning to announce fare cuts of up to 40% tomorrow. American Airlines has been losing about $1 million a day. Mean times in the sky mean more planes on the ground. Correspondent David Dow looks at the commercial airlines' mothball fleet.
It's a startling sign of the times. Row upon row of jetliners lined up in the desert. The manager of this remote airfield is surrounded by ghostly, hulking symbols of recession. 747s, DC-9s, L-1011s, a jet-age armada grounded by hard times in the airline industry.
You're looking at a neighborhood of maybe $2.5 billion worth of airplanes just sitting here in the desert. That makes this pretty expensive desert.
And the planes keep coming in, more every week. A congested panorama rivaling the world's busiest airports. But it's quiet here. These are the planes of the bankrupt, the temporarily downsized.
I'm getting phone calls every day for people looking to park their planes until they can use them again and make money.
Some have never flown a commercial passenger, like these brand new Air Canada 747s, worth $150 million each, parked and waiting for business to pick up.
We cover up the engines, we cover up every single nook and cranny on the aircraft. We literally put it in a plastic bag.
The airlines pay up to $500 a month to park each of these mothballed aircraft, $6,000 a year. But that is cheaper than flying them into economic winds that cost the U.S. airline industry more than $6 billion in losses over the last 2 years.
The industry is going to turn around in the next year or so. So we just to keep them in good shape so that when they do go back into work, they're ready to go.
And from time to time, a plane does return to the air, a symbol of hope, tempered by the drone of tractors preparing more space for the economically grounded. David Dow, CBS News, Mojave, California.
As beneficial as self-examination is, Mary Brody won't feel the tiny lump in her breast for another 2 years. But she'll discover it tomorrow, after her first mammogram, thanks in part to a new X-ray film created by DuPont that makes it safer to start mammography early. And for Mary, early detection means a 2-year head start on the rest of her life. At DuPont, we make the things that make a difference.
Red Lobster may have gone too far this time. A full pound of tempting shrimp overflowing your plate. Red Lobster's never offered you, whoops, so much on one plate. 10 grilled shrimp, 15 butterfly, 11 scampi. A full pound of our biggest and best shrimp for a limited time. So much shrimp with all the extras, including a doggy bag.
Red Lobster for the seafood lover in you.
Chrysler Fifth Avenue at $22,000, the perfect balance between self-indulgence and common sense.
Now get $1,500 cash back on Chrysler Fifth Avenue.
Ordinary pickles are cooked and limp. Not Claussen. They're packed fresh and stored cold, so they're always crisp and delicious. Taste the difference. Cold, crisp, Claussen.
Tylenol users discover a powerful name in aspirin-free pain relief.
It took away my headache. Aspirin-free Anacin worked as well as Tylenol.
Like Tylenol, aspirin-free Anacin is 100% aspirin-free acetaminophen, so it's gentle on your stomach.
Now I have a choice.
Got one of these? It's an instruction booklet from the IRS. Tax day is a week away. But maybe 1991 was a bad year for you. You didn't make much, and you don't owe any tax. Says here, you don't have to file a return. Well, it may just pay you to file anyway, as Aaron Hayes explains in tonight's Eye on America.
This year, tax loopholes, as always, will provide money back for the rich, the crafty, the well-invested, and like never before, well,
We're adding up.
The financially strapped.
And say Merry Christmas.
For families tight on money, there's one loophole this year that's a gift. It's called the Earned Income Credit. It's double what it was last year and can mean up to $2,000 from the IRS, even for people who haven't had to pay a dime in taxes. Well, that has those struggling to help the homeless and unemployed taking note. At this Atlanta Community Center, volunteer tax preparer Jackie Bolton has hauled in over $30,000 in refunds for her clients.
Well, you're not required to file. I can tell you that. Okay. However...
The however is file anyway, and Bolton's out spreading the news.
Hi, I'm Jackie Bolton.
Even taking it to cable TV.
We're here for Tax Talk.
Her message, it's not just earned income credit that can help.
As you know, each year the exemptions get higher and higher. That's why you're showing some type of variation.
Using any legitimate deductions, folks hit by hard times, even if they're not required to file, could find big money in that 1040 form.
Roughly about $3,000.
That's what Albert Jones is getting back. He was homeless when Jackie Bolton convinced him he needed to file.
After she figured up my taxes and my back tax form, it was a relief, you know, just like, it was a blessing.
Come on, sweet pea.
Shernette Dennerson and her husband Thomas are college graduates. She lost her job when she became pregnant. He's been in and out of work. They owed back rent, were really worried, till they decided to try for tax help.
So we did good. That's $900, and then you have $85 coming from the state. It's almost $1,000.
I mean, it was like, this is a godsend. That's how I felt.
Bolton, who does the returns free of charge, says she's just teaching folks they can use the system just like the wealthy do.
These people have paid their dues, and all they need is another chance.
Homeless shelters in Washington, D.C. are doing the same.
I know that when you first look at something like this, you go, oh my God, I can't do this.
Convincing working residents to file even if they don't have to.
They were available, so I took advantage of the opportunity.
Total here so far, $75,000 in tax refunds.
Bingo. It's great. I mean, it's a meal ticket, it's a housing ticket, it's a security deposit and a month's rent or two, and maybe some furniture to boot.
And it's a good buy.
Laverne Griffin, with $1,500 in refunds and earned income credit, not only got a place to live, she started her own thrift store.
This is an opportunity to put forth some of the ideas that I had on the backlog for so many years.
Volunteers say they find using a route usually reserved for the more well-to-do helps preserve one's sense of dignity. What are you going to do with the money?
I want to get a better place to stay, for one.
And sometimes, one sense of humor.
What are you going to do with the money?
Buy a car and go to Disney World. No.
Are you really?
No.
No numbers are available, but the IRS is expecting to send out a lot more money to lower-income folks who are becoming tax-savvy and catching on to the fact that the system can work in their favor, too.
Don't forget to sign it.
In Atlanta, this is Erin Hayes for Eye on America.
And that's part of our world tonight. Coming up on this CBS station, 48 Hours, a mass killer convinces a jury he was insane. Now he wants to go free. He says now he's all better. What do you say? 48 Hours, murder or madness? Tonight at 10, 9 Central Time on CBS. Dan Rather, I'll see you in 48 hours.
Experience CBS News.
This is CBS.
Next on Hard Copy, the private eye who says she tracked down her own cheating husband. Plus, Madonna talks about her movie.
Let's make them count. It's Dollar Day sale this week at Grand Union. Groceries reduced to $1, 2 for $1, 3 for $1. The Grand Union Dollar Day sale.
Alien sex experiments.
There was absolutely nothing pleasurable about it.
The next Montel Williams show.